Good evening. I'm thrilled to welcome you to our second anniversary celebration. Dimension Sciences is a registered 501c3 nonprofit. Our mission is to assist early career scientists from underrepresented communities through mentoring programs and scholarships to promote diversity in the sciences, to further equity, international collaboration, and innovative research. It is my pleasure to introduce our host for the evening, Bob Chapman, Dimension Sciences co-founder and strategic director. Bob came to Dimension Sciences with more than 25 years in public policy and grassroots advocacy in the United States and Brazil. His experience includes an appointment in the Clinton administration in the Office of Presidential Advance and Department of Defense. In addition, he served as the Brazil country director for the Clinton Foundation, working closely with the mayors of Sao Paulo and Rio de Janeiro to advance climate change mitigation and environmental policies. He served as managing director of global alliances at American Cancer Society and is currently senior advisor at APCO Worldwide. He brings a wealth of experience in nonprofit management, capacity building, and fundraising. His extensive network includes multilateral institutions, including the United Nations, World Bank, and World Health Organization, and he supports several nonprofit initiatives around the world. Welcome, Bob.
Thank you so much, Coca. I think the meeting is over now because you're taking up all that time at the introduction, but I do appreciate it. Hello, everyone. Again, my name is Bob Chapman. I am the co-founder and strategic director of Dimension Sciences. I want to thank all of you for joining us on this special evening to celebrate our second anniversary. I just can't believe it. Dimension Sciences was started with a dream and a vision and 2 cups of coffee. To be honest, that's all we could afford at the time. But since that day, in November 2019, Dimension Sciences has been growing and working to expand diversity, equity, and inclusion in the sciences. We've already impacted more than 400 lives through scholarships and in the sciences and mentoring towards this imperative of creating a much more diverse scientific ecosystem. And here we are today, celebrating our second anniversary. It's kind of hard to believe. Dimension Sciences believes in the power of people who want to impact the world in their own unique way. We believe in making all voices heard, regardless of their race, gender, or socioeconomic status. When we have more diversity in science, we have better outcomes, and all of humanity benefits. Tonight, we are celebrating our second anniversary with speakers and videos highlighting the important work we've accomplished in just those 2 past years. First up, I have the honor to introduce to you our co-founder, my partner, and executive director, Dr. Marcia Fournier. Marcia is an entrepreneur with 20 years of experience leading teams and developing innovative healthcare products, applying genomics, machine learning, and basic research. She came to the United States, and this is important. She came to the United States 25 years ago with an international exchange scholarship to pursue her doctoral research in oncology at the prestiged Dana-Farber Cancer Institute in Boston, Massachusetts. After receiving her PhD from the University of Rio de Janeiro, she had the opportunity to work in leading U.S. institutions, including Lawrence Berkeley National Laboratory as a postdoc fellow and GlaxoSmithKline as a principal scientist. Most recently, Marcia has led a biotechnology company called BioArray Genetics for the last 10 years. Marcia's experience as an immigrant with a PhD in science combined with work as an entrepreneur, hard work, and an executive in healthcare gives her a unique perspective on education and minorities in science. Welcome, Marcia.
When I first time landed in the U.S. soil, I landed in Boston, Massachusetts, February 17, President's Day, 1997. I came from Rio de Janeiro. Have you heard of it? Tropical city, sunshine, ocean. Our winter is, if it gets to 60, let's get your winter jacket in, because 60 is very cold. That's what my family says up to date. I came to Boston and was below freezing. I was very excited to actually land in Boston. I was coming with a scholarship from Brazil to pursue my doctoral studies at the Dana-Farber Cancer Institute, which is part of Harvard Medical School. It was my dream to come here and do research. And I was ready for it. I had my winter boots, I had my coat, everything I bought in the real fashion streets. All my winter gear, I was ready for Boston. Besides the fact that my boot really cracked 2 days later because of the snow, it froze, was not ready for that winter, so I had to I had to go shopping in Boston for real winter clothes when it's below 60. This was the first time I realized that scholarship would not be only about research. That scholarship would be also about learning to live in a new place, learning a new language. Oh yeah, let me tell you about that story. First person I met was the security guard in front of the Dana-Farber. And he said to me in a very high, "Hey, how are you doing?" Oh my God. I said, what does he mean? I learned English. I went to English school. You say, how are you? What he mean by how are you doing? Doing what? I'm walking well. I'm coming in well. So, yes, when you learn a language in a foreign country, you may not learn exactly the way people say things on that country. So that's what happened to me. I had to relearn English when I came in. Learn the culture. Nobody laugh on my jokes anymore because they didn't understand the Brazilian popular culture. I didn't laugh on American jokes in the first 2 or 3 years I was here. So that scholarship, more and more I live it in the U.S., I realized that scholarship not only changed the course of my career, but also who I was and what I knew about the world. Getting to know a new culture opened up so much in my life. New friends that became my family, because when you're living in a foreign country, your friends become your family. There was so much more to it just the research in the lab. The research in the lab also opened up an opportunity for jobs and new connections. And today I think people say I'm a successful scientist, but I must say I'm still learning every day. But always start with my early career scholarships of bringing me here and opening such amazing experiences in my life. So when I founded Dimension Sciences, Bob and I founded it with that sentiment of giving back to our community through scholarships that can be life-changing. Thank you.
Thank you, Marcia. Those were very inspiring words. And remember, the dream and the vision I had talked about is just what Marcia had explained. So Marcia, if you're there, let me just say happy anniversary. This is amazing. Tell me what you're thinking now after the last 2 years through a pandemic. What do you think of the dream and where it is today? Well, welcome back, everyone. Just let me say thank you to Marcia for that inspiring message and the opportunity to partner with her on making this dream a reality. You have all joined us tonight because you recognize the importance of the work of Dimension Sciences. The truth is that we can't continue this work without funding, and you are an important part of those efforts. As I like to say, fundraising isn't all we do, but all we do depends on it. As you may know, we've been holding an auction this month with over 100 items, wine tastings, amazing vacations, jewelry, sports memorabilia, and a variety of other exciting experiences, all to raise more money for our cause and our scholarships. Items like these wines, for example, available now only to our Brazilian bidders. These wines have been provided by Decantese, a Brazilian-owned distributor of wines. There's still time to get on the auction action. The auction will close at midnight tonight Eastern Time, so check out our auction and get your bids in now. My colleagues will drop in the link so that you can put your bids in, and we appreciate all the support and help we can get. Thank you.
I applied to DS Bridges because I see the opportunity to get support to my research.
I applied for a DS Bridges scholarship because I am transitioning from a position here in the US, and I'm very happy to return to my home country with the support of Dimension Sciences. When I was reading about, like the support that the DS Bridges has with LGBT people, Black people, and everyone. When I have my own lab, one of my dreams is also to support and prioritize bringing a diverse group, a team of scientists. So I really identify myself with the goal of DS Bridges.
And I have applied for the scholarship because I just finished my master's degree study on May, and I haven't yet started my PhD study. So I saw in the scholarship a possibility to have this financial aid between this gap between my master's degree and my PhD, because I am keep working even without any financial aid in this COVID-19 project. So this is why I decided to apply for the scholarship.
É tão importante hoje, nesse momento de tanta vulnerabilidade da saúde, que a gente tenha prevenção, e só através de vocês nós vamos conhecer o que é prevenção. E de repente vem esse grupo maravilhoso e me apresenta um prêmio para poder homenagear 5 mulheres cientistas. Nossa, foi muito maravilhoso, eu sei.
Well, Marcia.
Hey, Bob, finally.
Finally.
Well, I think this is the pandemic, right? We're still living in the virtual.
That's correct. Yeah, absolutely right. Maybe in our next career, we could focus on just technology and virtual programming. But Marcia, let me just say, heart to heart, congratulations. It was your dream and your passion and your vision and my cup of coffee that started all of this. So let me ask you, what are you thinking today? What's in your mind?
So I'm super proud of all volunteers that put this together, and also very proud of our scholars and awardees. And I'm really excited with the program today and listen from many of them here today. So I'm looking forward to see the rest of the program, and I hope everybody out there is joining us. And so I really appreciate, Bob, that coffee. We have to have that coffee every year and bring along everybody that we're impacting with the programs that we created.
Sounds great. Well, again, congratulations, parabéns to you. Let's move on with the show.
Hello, everyone. It's an honor to be here to celebrate and support diversity in science. Let me share with you a little bit about myself. I'm a Brazilian born and raised in the Cerrado, and as someone who's very in love with nature, that's how I started my career as a wildlife veterinarian. Suddenly life happened, and I found myself engaged to a foreigner with a one-way ticket to the US. I knew that I didn't want to validate my diploma due to costs and time, and I wanted to continue working with science, which isn't quite what the validation process would entail. So I applied to UC Davis graduate program, the MPVM, and I was accepted. And this master's really did change my life. It opened so many doors, including an internship at Institut Pasteur, Madagascar. So upon my graduation, I applied and I was accepted to a state fellowship program in public health. And I've since been working with the pandemic response, producing information to lead data-driven decisions. Last month, I was hired as a full-time epidemiologist for local health jurisdictions, and here I am 4 years after immigrating to the US with a newfound passion, public health. Still, I wanted to remain connected to my country and give back, especially considering that all of my undergrad and the graduate studies that I did in Brazil were 100% free, and that really helped launch my career here in the US. So in 2019, I began volunteering with Grupo Mulheres do Brasil in the Silicon Valley chapter. This is a woman-led Brazilian-born group with currently almost 100,000 members, women all over the world, that focus on female leadership to build a better society. In the Silicon Valley chapter, we have the Science Committee, which is the only one of the kind in the whole institution. And our mission is to help bring Brazilian scientists, help support Brazilian scientists wherever they are, highlight the presence of women in science, and build bridges between Brazil and the US. Our objectives are very close to Dimension Science Mission, so naturally we started a partnership in 2020 where we created an incredible project, the Scientista Award. Now, Scientista is a fusion between scientist, which is an English word, with the A pronoun indicative of a female word in Portuguese, intended to honor Brazilian immigrant women who conduct research in the United States. Our first edition in April 2021, we received 50 applications from 16 states all over the US. We awarded 2 first prize winners with $2,000 each. And we had 5 incredible runner-ups who received honorable mention, and we were able to award all of our 30 finalists. I really want to highlight the impact that the award had on the women that participated in an event. And when we started to make this project, we never really expected the size and the impact that we would have on these women. Sure, we tossed words around like empowerment and allyship, but when we saw the response that we got from the women that participated, it literally brought us all to tears of joy, of course. Among some of our winners, we had single mothers, first generation scientists, women with a lot of years as career scientists, some that were just beginning, all of them sharing their ups and downs, insecurities, accomplishment, imposter syndrome, and how this recognition was important to keep their stamina and fight in becoming a successful scientist. They also had the opportunity to meet each other and to share their research and to continue spreading awareness on science through a series of programs that Grupo Mulheres do Brasil and Dimension Science worked with them afterwards. I just want to wrap up using a slogan that became very popular in Brazil recently, especially with science suffering such lack of support and funding. It's a rough translation, so bear with me. Nobody let go of anyone's hand. So hand in hand, help us to continue our work to support and uplift women scientists. Be part of this initiative to encourage more women in science. Thank you very much, and congratulations, Dimensions.
Hello, hey Bob, you are on mute. So Nárjara, I want to thank you for your participation on Dimension Science Gala, the partnership with Grupo Mulheres Brasil and Dimension Science, creating this amazing award, the Scientista Award. But we had the first edition this year, and so we're really looking forward to the next edition. But it was amazing to meet amazing women, Latino women working in biotechnology in the U.S. So the Scientist Award honors all these women, and we really think this is an amazing program, and we're suffering some technical difficulties here, but we want to bring back Coca and Bob to continue with the program. But in the meantime, that they are fixing the problems, I just want to talk here with you guys for a little bit. And thank you for all of you being here today, celebrating Dimension Science's second anniversary. Dimension Sciences is an organization that is fully run by volunteers, 100% volunteers. And and as you saw in the highlights and some of our speakers so far, we created a series of programs to support early career scientists with scholarships, awards, and also a programming. A lot of our scholars tell us how the programming transformed their lives. This programming that we offer includes mentoring, group mentoring, one-on-one mentoring, workshops, and also we foster discussion between scientists and creating new networks. So with that, we really aim to connect our scholars and awardees to a network of professionals that can support their dreams. With that, I'm going to pass and we will continue the program. Thank you so much for staying with me.
Thank you, Marcia. I should say sometimes the technical issues are not technical at all. They're actually the user not taking themselves off of mute. So thank you again. And again, to reiterate what Marcia just said, as well as Nárjara, thank you so much for the partnership with Grupo Mulheres do Brasil. It's been a very important part of our programming to expand our scholarship programs, mentoring, and also to pay it forward. Because Dimension Sciences is a global organization, we must use interpreters for many of our programs and events. Each event with an interpreter can cost well over $400, $500, but that only comes out to $33 a month. So your monthly contribution can help us continue providing interpretation and translation at our events. You see there some of the programs and what Pay It Forward means. It really means to underscore that a small amount of money can go a very long way. So we encourage everyone to support our programs, even if it's $20, $30, $50 a month. All of it goes to a good cause, and it all adds up. So I also want to mention that you see there on the screen the Scan Me QR code. If you just take your mobile device and take a picture of that, open up your camera, put it up to the screen, that will take you to our donation page for the Pay It Forward program. So now I would like to introduce one of our scholars. Glaucia Caruso is a 2020 COVID Task Force Scholarship recipient. She is currently a PhD candidate at the Universidad of São Paulo and a scientific consultant at Brasil Química Indústria de Comércio in São Paulo. Glaucia, it's great to see you again. Welcome.
Hello everyone, good evening. I'm Glaucia Rigoto Caruso. I'm from Brazil, and I was one of the DS scholars in 2020. And I'm here to talk about my trajectory in science and why I support so much Dimension Sciences. I'm a biotechnologist, and I got my degree in 2015. And in 2015, I got my first job in a plant nutrition company. I was a lab technician. It was an amazing experience. It was an important job because I was able to acquire a lot of experience, which helped me a lot to when I entered in my master's in 2017. So from this period to 2020, I usually say that I got my scientific maturity. I got my master's degree. I got another job in another company of plant nutrition, but this time as a researcher coordinator. But pandemic messed with my plants in 2020, and I got unemployed. And here in Ribeirão Preto, the city where I live, the cases of COVID-19 spread a lot. And a task force was created to help in diagnostic and the control of the cases. So I was at home rest, and I was doing absolutely nothing. So I volunteered myself to help because I had knowledge, a scientific knowledge to help in the molecular diagnosis. Somehow the S showed up, and with the program for scholarships and mentoring in the worst moment of my life, because in this period I have to return my rented apartment and go back to live with my family, postpone some dreams. And my mind was a mess. Sometimes we are hard on ourselves, don't we? Dimension Science support me during this period, offering me social support in our meetings and the mentoring programs. And I'm so grateful for this opportunity. And that's why I supported Dimension Science so much. And now the fresh news is that I'm a PhD candidate here in the University of São Paulo, and I'm also doing scientific consulting in biotechnology, and guess where? In the company where I got my first job. This organization and people are not just about science. They are about humanity, equality, and love. And all I have to say, happy anniversary, DS. Good night, everyone. Enjoy the online party. And warm regards from Brazil. Okay? Bye.
Claudia, that was just amazing. And let me just say that we may have helped you through your career journey and your studies, but you inspire all of us. And I just cannot wait for the day when I can call you Dr. Caruso. I will be there for you, I promise. So again, this is highlights that it would not be a celebration if we did not tell you about the successes we've had with these programs. In 2020, our COVID Task Force Scholarship, which Claudia had participated in, resulted in all 7 recipients finding placement in a position by the end of the program. Isn't that amazing? And our 2021 Dimension Sciences Bridges program, which is only halfway through, has already seen 3 scholars receiving offers for a research position. Our scholarships are making a difference. So I still want to talk about the need for money. One of the greatest privileges I can have with Dimension Sciences is reviewing the applications and the evaluation process for those who apply for our programs. It is also the most difficult. I have never had more, difficulty in selecting a handful out of 50 to 100 applicants who truly deserve our support. But we can't do it unless we have the funding. So again, I want to reiterate that you can go to this QR code on the screen, scan it with your camera. You could actually choose the program of your choice you would like to support. So there's still time before our auction closes. Again, this auction will close at midnight tonight. Don't miss out on a chance to win a one-of-a-kind collector's item like this autographed jersey. An autographed jersey from Pele, one of the greatest athletes of history. This is your chance to own a part of Brazilian sports history. Go Pele. So our next guest is Ariana Monteiro, a Dimension Sciences volunteer working on a Dimension Sciences campus initiative. Ariana is a senior researcher at Envisioning and a creative researcher and writer consulting at the UN High Commissioner for Refugees, otherwise known as the UN Refugee Agency. Welcome, Ariana, and thank you for the great work that you do.
Hello, my name is Ariana. I am a final year student enrolled in a bachelor's degree program in social science at the University of São Paulo, and I also a Dimension Science ambassador at the campus for the second time. Through this experience, I could connect with some brilliant individuals with diverse background and experiences. I also had the chance to interview and learn from well-established scientists. And I'm also learning a bunch of new skills such as conducting prospective research to find potential donors, design and contribute to fundraising campaigns and events. So far I learned that it's not an easy task to maintain an organization on track. So I want to congratulate Dimension Science for this fantastic work on supporting scientists, and also for creating such an inspiring community. Congratulations.
Good night, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here with you all tonight. I am Nárjara. I am a veterinarian. Now I'm doing my PhD looking for biotechnology to assist to recover bird species threatened of extinction. It's an honor to introduce to you a research that I have admired since the day I began to study and work in the conservationist field. This night, we'll have the pleasure to hear about Neive Guedes' trajectory, story, and advice. Neive is graduated in biological science with a degree in forest science, a master's degree in forest science, and a PhD in zoology field. She's a professor in the graduate program in environment and regional development at the Uniderp University. She's the president of Instituto Arara Azul, which she founded about 30 years ago. Recently, she entered the United Nations Hall of Fame for her work in recovering the big blue macaws populations from extinction. Thank you, Neive, for sharing with us tonight and for embracing our cause. With you, Neive Guedes.
Boa noite, obrigada Yara, obrigada pelo convite, é uma honra participar do Dimension
Good night.
Sciences.
Thank you, Yara. Thank you for the invitation. It is an honor to participate in this event and to talk a little bit about my work in 3 decades on conservation biology. Before talking about biology and the macaws, which is my main work in the last 30 years, I need to talk about my personal life and my trajectory. I was born in a family with 6 brothers and sisters. My mother got married very early, and my dad was 10 years older than her, and they had 6 kids. But for my 6th sister, uh, it was she was pregnant 13 years after the last kid. So when she was in her 8th month of pregnancy, my father passed, and he was still young. My mom was in her early 40s. I was also young, and I always wanted to go to medical school. I was always studying, and all of a sudden, our financial situation was not good, and I had to work to help my mom raise my younger sister. My older brother was already married, and so we didn't have a way to survive. So I had to go to biology school because I would study at night. But then in the second year, it was very difficult to take my studies forward, and I ended up finishing school. It was very hard, and by the end of the school, by the end of college, I was completely in love by my profession. And today I thank God because I am very fulfilled in my profession. After I graduated, I worked with environmental education in Mato Grosso do Sul Secretariat, and there we developed a course with several technicians in the parks of the state. And the last one was Pantanal's park. And all of a sudden, we found a tree with more or less 30 hyacinth macaws, and the teacher said that that bird was endangered. And then I left the place saying that I was going to study I wanted to do something so that they wouldn't disappear. So that became the project of my life. This happened in November of 1989. In 1990, I started studying the hyacinth macaw because it was a challenge because I used to work with environmental education, and I was a recently graduated biologist full of energy. And I found a challenge because then I see myself in a difficult situation with a low population density, 250,000 square feet, meters, or kilometers, I'm sorry. That was a very dense forest, and I had no reference, no way to start this work. And so I looked for Embrapa, and they had a farm in the central region of Pantanal. And with the support of Embrapa's researchers and also the environmental chief of police of Mato Grosso do Sul, I started my work. In the first 40 days, I went to Pantanal and I started to observe, to see the macas and try to understand how they lived in nature, because we had almost no information on them in nature. So this work was special, was unique, because in these first 40 days I had great positive results of interaction with the local community. They were very welcoming because I was working with other researchers. And over time, this affinity with Pantanal just increased, and the first results really drew attention of everyone, because these were the real first results of these about these macas in nature. But in these first days, I had difficulties because sometimes I needed to reach to a place and very early, and my ride would get in late because that was when they could pick me up, or I would need to be there up to a later hour, and my ride would come and pick me up at 5. So I needed to have my own car. I needed to be independent to do my work, because in this first trip I rode car, tractor, a horse, and so all types of means of transportations that you can imagine. And I was always someone else's ride. So I started then with these first results. I went after the vehicle industries in Brazil so that they could give me a car, so that I had to work in Pantanal. All of them denied it. After the initial results, I went to a congress in Canada to bring my initial results, and my future advisor, and I started a master's degree in Exalc in Piracicaba in forest sciences. In an presentation, he met a Toyota engineer. He talked to him about what I needed, and then they gave me a Jeep, and then I became a test pilot for Toyota. So while doing my own work, I also would test the car for the Brazilian factory. I have a lot of stories to tell because I was a woman, or I am, of course, a woman, and this is something very different to have a woman riding in Pantanal in a Toyota, sometimes really taking people out of the mud or climbing trees year after year. That was very interesting because I did not go there and came back. I went there and I stayed. And that created a major reference to people and helped involving people in the macaws conservation. Because what have I seen since the beginning? The hyacinth macaws, which are from the Pistacidae family, they were very specific because they would feed from few species in nature, basically 2 fruits all over their lives since they were born up to the adult stage, and they use only 90% of the time one type of tree. And in the initial work years, I saw that they didn't have areas to reproduce because the little areas that they had, the grooves that they needed to reproduce were not enough. So I started with these results to try models, and by bringing that into nature, we could maybe improve it. So I used the plastic gallons. I also wooden boxes. So I created a model. I got it right. 1 week after that, uh, the macaws started using those areas for their nest, and I started to scale it. So the macaws were able to find more areas to reproduce. Therefore, we were able to have them expanding, growing in the region, and increase the number of couples every year. With that work that move forwards every year, broadening our study areas, a project that started very small with a single person, but I never carried it out by myself. I always say that I did not work by myself. I had the support of Embrapa, of the Environmental Secretariat, and also the farmers, the growers, people that worked in Pantanal. Although this was a personal mission, I never worked by myself. So I engaged with many other people, and that allowed the project to grow. And it grew so much that I had to create an institute, a legal entity for it. So in 2003, I created the Instituto Arara Azul. That's where I am now. We have a headquarters in Campo Grande, and I have a base in Pantanal. And those first 8 years where I was by myself, at every trip I had someone different to work with me. I didn't have a team. So if people wanted to get to know Pantanal, they would go with me to take notes and to open the gates. Now I have 16 people helping me, at least in 4 different regions. In Pantanal, we have a base in a specific area called Caimã, that is 4 hours away from Campo Grande. That's where I live and where I am right now. And then we can work not only with the blue macas, but over these 3 decades, over 100 people came and associated themselves to our work, masters and PhD doctors, and several universities in Brazil and abroad. And we have a partnership, of a long-term one, with Dr. Cristina Miyake from the University of São Paulo and other universities in Brazil. And they supported us, and we supported their master's degrees, and a number of other articles that have been published, and also other data that are still being analyzed in order to be published. This work has grown a lot, not only with the hyacinth macaw that have improved and that we're able to expand the population, but also there's less traffic because the local community helped protect them, and they were in an endangered species, and they are no longer. They left that list in December of 2014, and they are now just vulnerable species. But in the last few years, we have, in addition to climate change, also the increase of extreme events, especially caused by deforestation and also burning of the forest in the last 3 years especially. This is greatly affecting these macaws in nature, and now we have new challenges. And unfortunately, the fact that this is no longer an endangered species in Brazil, now there are less sanctions on them. So once again, they are part of traffic. This is a traffic that is not as intense as it was in the past, but we have that again. Therefore, we now work with federal police, with environmental military police, not only here in Brazil, but also in neighboring countries such as Bolivia and Paraguay, where we are working with researchers in these countries, because the hyacinth macaws they are present in Brazil, in the north and northeast of Brazil, where we have Tocantins, Piauí, Maranhão, and Bahia, and also in Bolivia and Paraguay. Considering there are no borders for them, and we are trying to work with the researchers of all these countries so that they can do the same work involving the community, and also work with the police to avoid that the eggs or the young birds are trafficked. Because this is a long-term work, and because we are constantly monitoring them and monitoring the nests, adding artificial nests and recovering the nests, because they are very loyal to their reproductive areas. They always go back to the same reproductive area, so it's very easy to find them again. Therefore, we are able to have nests that are being monitored for over 20 years. And we are also able to recover the older trees, the trees that might break, and we try to have them still used as much as possible. Really, only when the tree falls down is that when we come up and we install a new nest. The macaws, the hyacinth macaws, are very interesting because they are very loyal. Once a couple is defined, and that is defined in 6 or 7 years of age, they will be together up to the death of one of them, and they will be carrying the they will be sharing the cleaning of the nest, taking care of the small birds. Both of them will care for the baby birds. So this is a very interesting bird to observe in nature. An important characteristic is that it is very strong in the beak, therefore it can open a small cavity that was started by a woodpecker or another bird, and there where they create their nest. That really is almost an Airbnb, because it also can serve to other species. We have already identified other 25 species that interact with the macaws in the reproductive period, or will use their homes, so to say, uh, in another period. Therefore, other researchers are working with us to study the insects that they have there, the bats that are there, also owls, ducks, and other birds that also have interesting relationships with them. And some of the birds are really predators of their eggs, but they also disseminate the seeds of the main trees that will allow them to make their nests on. So in nature, everything is interconnected, and we work so that this connection is still there, because that is part of our biodiversity. And if we are maintaining that habitat for the macaws, we are also maintaining the habitat of other species, and man included. And if we have a good habitat for the macaws, it is good for us as well. We work also with other macaws. We work with the environment, with the community involvement. We also work with children here in Campo Grande, in Mato Grosso do Sul. And there was another phenomena. There was another type of macaws that came in, the red ones, and in Campo Grande became the capital of the macaws, because we have a large number of these birds here in the urban area, and now we are working with the urban population so that everyone is proud of having these birds with us, and we are trying to understand that relationship of development and biodiversity conservation. Therefore, we have been able to meet many of our goals for conservation, bringing in knowledge and providing subsidies for the public policies, generating engagement and attitude change. After all, this is a single planet. There is no plan B. And if we are living a pandemic now, all of us are being affected, not only animals, but men, especially. So all of us have to take care of the environment. We are part of it, after all. In addition to that, we support other conservation works. Yara is now starting her PhD in our fields here in Mato Grosso do Sul, and we are very happy about this invitation. We are honored, and we would like to invite you all to support us, because a long-term work, especially here in Brazil, where science is not valued enough, we have to be very persistent. My message today is this: always try to do your best. Always do your best and be persistent, because there are great challenges, and we are challenged every day. Every day, I have a number of stories, and many times I thought about quitting, but that didn't last over 5 minutes, because I roll up my sleeves and once again I start working, because I believe in what I'm doing. And that makes me bring aboard other people that believe in this project with me. I have a team now of 16 people working in the field with me, some people here in the office, but we have associate researchers, population, and they are also contributing to the biodiversity conservation. So we need to value science, to support people so that they can improve their studies, continue improving their personal studies, their lives. And if you have a life project, if you are in the academia, do not give up of your dreams. Do your best. Do not allow the barriers to let you down, to make you give up. you have to persist, to insist always, and never let it down. This is my message. I would like to ask people to contribute, because really Dimension Sciences has an ideal that is very important for people that are different and that do need somehow at a certain moment of their lives a support. So I'm very happy to be here right now talking to you, and I would like to ask you all to make your contribution. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Dr. Guedes, what an inspiration you are to all of us. Thank you so much for those words of wisdom. Our world at this moment, especially at this moment, given the pandemic, needs scientists like Dr. Guedes. Women scientists, scientists from diverse backgrounds, countries, ethnicities, socioeconomic backgrounds and upbringings, and scientists who may be LGBTQ or gender non-conforming. Dimension Sciences was founded to support these scientists and contribute to a more diverse and inclusive scientific community. Now you know why we named it Dimension Sciences. Science must be diverse and has many different dimensions. There's always more than one way to solve a scientific problem. But we need your help. We can't do this work alone. Your donation, your support, your promotion of Dimension Sciences on social media, and your contributions to our mission enables us and our beneficiaries, the very people that you just heard from, to support these and to continue our mission so that it goes well beyond just 2 years. Scientists like our next speaker, Dr. Gisele Buffon. Dr. Gisele received her degree in biology and her master's and doctorate degree in biotechnology from the University of Valle Takari Universities. She is the recipient of the New Dimension or Nova Dimensão Award and is the founder of and CEO of Syntalgy. Dr. Buffon, the floor is yours. Thank you.
Olá a todos, meu nome é Gisele, eu sou uma cientista aqui do interior do Rio Grande do Sul. Eu fiz minha graduação em Biologia, meu mestrado e doutorado em Biotecnologia pela Universidade do Vale do Taquari Universities. Receber o prêmio Nova Dimensão gerou um impacto muito positivo na minha vida, tanto pessoal quanto profissional. Pessoal, porque eu me senti mais segura e empoderada como mulher no empreendedorismo aqui no Brasil. Porque nós sabemos que não é nada fácil ser mulher e empreendedora aqui no Brasil. E profissional, porque recebendo o prêmio, eu acabei recebendo reconhecimento de outros pesquisadores da área e de outras instituições de pesquisa, que me ajudou muito a aumentar o meu networking e as minhas colaborações na pesquisa. Hoje a minha startup ela é muito jovem ainda, a Syntalgy, e a gente sabe que tem muitos desafios ainda pela frente e muitas barreiras para serem quebradas. Mas receber esse apoio da Dimension Science nos mostra que nós estamos no caminho certo em desenvolver pesquisa e tecnologia aqui no Brasil, e eu me esforço todos os dias para que futuramente eu consiga também ajudar e empoderar outras mulheres e ajudar pessoas menos favorecidas para continuar esse lindo legado da Dimension Science. Eu não tenho palavras para agradecer e mostrar toda a minha gratidão que eu tenho por essa instituição, pela Márcia e por todos os colaboradores. Meu muito obrigada.
Dr. Buffon, thank you so much for those kind words and your inspiration and all the work that you do. Again, we would not have been able to support Gisele without your support to Dimension Sciences. So I wanted to just reiterate that, again, you can go to our website, dimensionsciences.org, or you can just snap a picture of the QR code that you see there in front of you. Just snap that photo and it will take you directly to our donation page and you can actually choose which program you would like to support. Very important. We cannot do this without you. And I will reiterate that fundraising is not everything we do, but everything we do depends on it. It's so important. So with that, let us go to our next speaker, Dr. Claudia Mitchell, and one of our greatest supporters.
My name is Claudia Mitchell. I'm a scientist entrepreneur with a career that spans academia, biotech, nonprofit, and pharma. My current role, I am the Senior Vice President of Portfolio Strategy at Astellas Pharma, a global company based here out of Tokyo, Japan. And today I wanted to talk a little bit about Dimension Sciences and how their mission really resonates deeply with me. When Marcia first came to me and described the idea for Dimension Sciences, I felt right away, wow, I need to support this because I feel very deeply connected, as I said, to the mission, because I too started my career in a developing country, and I know very well the hurdles that I had to overcome to get to where I am today. So I wanted to talk a little bit about my story, how I got here. You know, now I'm in Tokyo, Japan, and I've lived in 5 different countries because of my work. So I wanted to give you a little flavor so you can see and hopefully get inspired by my story and know that you too, you can get the opportunities, and because there are people out there helping you like Dimension Sciences. So I started my career at the Federal University of Rio de Janeiro. I did my scientific initiation there. I did my master's, and then I went for my PhD in Paris, France. And after I did my PhD, I had decided to go to the U.S. for my postdoc. I had gotten a fellowship from a French association to go do my postdoc in the U.S., but in order to survive in Seattle, which had a higher cost of living than in France, I needed a complement of the fellowship. And that makes me think about Dimension Sciences, because I turned to a private foundation that had grants to support students and fellows who needed that complement of income. So I needed that to support my family. I had my husband and my child who were following me. So that was really the enabler for me to do my postdoc in the US. So I'm really grateful for having had that opportunity. And after I went back to France, I got a faculty position there. So my career, you know, was really enabled by that support that I had from the private foundation. So Dimension Sciences, I know it's doing that kind of thing for many of you, and that's very inspiring. And those small gestures and help at the beginning of the career are really essential, because it launches you and allows you to continue your career. I then I went to do an MBA, started 2 biotechs, sold my company to Astellas Pharma, and now I'm here in Japan. So it's interesting how one thing leads to the other, and how those small gestures and helps that you get along the way are crucial for you to be where you are and to enable your path. I'm a big supporter of Dimension Sciences. I'm really excited that it's already in 2nd year and has accomplished so much. Congratulations, everybody in Dimension Sciences. Your mission is really crucial, and you can touch a lot of people's lives. And hopefully for many years. So congratulations. Thank you.
Wow, thank you so much, Claudia, for your support and your inspiration. You are part of this journey with Dimension Sciences, part of our vision and part of our dream. We do this for you. So, folks, guess what? We are nearing the end of our celebration and our auction. So with only 5 hours left, again, this will go to midnight tonight, Eastern Time, you can still bid on over 100 unique experiences and valuable items in our auction. All this is going to a great cause. One such item is the 2-night stay in relaxing Old Saybrook, Connecticut. I've been there. It's a great place to hang out. Only a mile to the beach, half mile down to downtown, and you can find plenty of shops and restaurants for your getaway. Look for the auction link in the chat room. Please don't miss out. I want to introduce our next speaker now, Camila Americiano, who is an entrepreneur, co-founder of Decanchese, a national brand curating labels and creating experiences centered around Brazilian wines. And Camila is also one of our sponsors. Welcome, Camila, and thank you for your support.
Olá, meu nome é Camila Emerenciano, eu sou sócia cofundadora da Decantse. A Decantse é uma empresa de curadoria de rótulos nacionais do vinho brasileiro que proporciona algumas experiências enogastronômicas de apoio aos pequenos produtores. E a gente está aqui contribuindo com o Dimension Sciences Second Anniversary Gala Auction 2021, justamente por um chamado que a gente viu muita semelhança aí, né, de apoio às minorias na ciência, assim como a gente apoia aqui os nossos pequenos produtores. Portanto, estamos doando algumas garrafas para o evento de vocês, para que vocês possam atingir o objetivo do lado da ciência, assim como a gente vem fazendo o nosso trabalho do lado de cá. E vale ressaltar a semelhança também, né, de que o vinho é um organismo vivo, é uma ciência também muito viva, existe muito estudo por trás da vinificação de um vinho, a enologia, a agronomia e, enfim, a uva traz um componente antioxidante muito importante na bebida, que é o resveratrol, que ajuda o nosso corpo até no combate aí de fungos, de algumas bactérias. Acredito que vocês possam explicar até melhor do que eu, mas a gente entendeu que tem tudo a ver e é por isso que nos tocou poder participar aqui com vocês na nossa contribuição. Além desse componente antioxidante, existe um apelo também aí muito social, né, da bebida, em que as pessoas, enquanto a gente está bebendo, o convívio com os amigos, de aumento da serotonina no nosso corpo. Então, vamos só lembrar que também não é importante ter o cuidado com o excesso, porque o excesso do álcool também pode bloquear o nosso hormônio aí da felicidade, né? Então, sucesso, parabéns pelo evento, obrigada pelo convite, pela parceria. Pegue sua taça, decante-se com moderação. Um beijo aqui do Brasil. Parabéns, obrigada.
So there is still one more way you guys can help support DS, and that is by volunteering. Without our volunteers, our organization wouldn't exist. In fact, our entire organization is run by volunteers. These are individuals who are paying it forward by giving their time and expertise to a cause that they believe in. I started volunteering with DS a year and a half ago because I truly believe in their mission. I saw an opportunity by volunteering with DS to help make the field of science more inclusive and diverse by helping to give other aspiring scientists like me the same opportunities I had when I first started out. Check out this next video on why you should join our team.
Hello, my name is Caroline Slade. Thank you for joining our annual gala. I volunteer at Dimension Sciences because I believe strongly in the mission of supporting underrepresented and underserved scientists from our communities through scholarships and mentorship programs. Your contributions today will go a long way toward helping us continue to support our mission. Thank you so much for joining us.
Hello everyone, I'm Bruna. I'm a scientist from Brazil. And being a volunteer in Dimension Sciences is an opportunity for me to work for diversity and inclusion in scientific career. So I'm grateful and I hope to help more people to maintain your research for now and in the future.
I volunteer with Dimension Sciences because I think it's really important to empower the next generation of scientists and to connect them to important resources that will help them be successful. especially scientists that may not otherwise have access to those resources.
Hi, my name is Michael. I volunteer with Dimension Sciences because I think this cause of education is something that is worth fighting for. Also because I believe that education is a tool that transforms and changes people's lives and realities and create positive contributions to our society.
Good evening, my name is Mariana. I am a Brazilian scientist working in the field of oncology, and I volunteered to Dimension Sciences because I believe that the quality of science increases as diversity increases, and also as a Black Brazilian mother of two women working in science, I faced some challenges, and I do wish to see more people like me working in science and succeeding in their career, especially in a country like mine, where the majority of population is Black. So that's it. Thank you for this great opportunity. Have a great evening.
The main reason that I support Dimension Science is because I believe that science is an important tool for social change. So I would like to congratulate Marcia and Bob again for this important initiative and send the best regards to all my friends that also support DS. And happy anniversary, Dimension Sciences. All the best.
And thank you to all of our volunteers. We could not do this without you. We are a 100% volunteer organization, folks, and that's important to remember. So most of the funds that we raise for these scholarships and mentoring programs go towards the programs itself. So now as we near the end of our program, I would like to introduce you to another member of the Dimension Sciences leadership, my fellow board member, Dr. Marcio Alves Ferreira. Dr. Alves Ferreira is a testimony to the impact of international exchange scholarship. He was a beneficiary of 2 scholarships during his doctoral and postdoctoral education, respectively, which also helped him establish key research collaborations for more than 10 years. He has mentored international students. He knows the process. He knows the potential impact of these programs and the importance of supporting higher education and inclusion of minorities in science. Marcio, my good friend, welcome.
Hi, my name is Márcio, and I'm a professor at Federal University of Rio de Janeiro and part of the board of Dimension Science. I have been a volunteer since the beginning of the Dimension Science back in 2019, and I really love this work. So I have been part of several initiatives like the DS Bridge, like the Scientist Awards, the Nova Dimensão Awards. They are all very important initiatives to bring diversity to the science. And being part of the academia, I know that that's one of the most important problems that you have, the lack of diversity in academia. So Dimension Science is doing a really very good job to bring diversity to the science. And really, it's something important for me. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Marcio. Appreciate your support, your volunteerism, and your leadership in these global exchange scholarship programs. So let me just say this. We are nearing the end of the program, and if you think that 2 years goes by very fast, 90 minutes goes by even faster. I think it has something to do with science. So finally, I'm excited to announce another simple way to contribute to our cause and show your support for Dimension Sciences. We just launched the Dimension Sciences store, and where you can buy shirts, hats, mugs, swag. A portion of the sales goes towards directly to Dimension Sciences programs, and you'll be able to market and spread the word. This coming week, let me finish with this. This coming week, people in the United States and Brazil will pause to give thanks, as so many people around the world will. With that, I want to thank each of you who has participated. I want to say thanks to all of our donors, past, present, and future. I want to say thank you to our scholars, to our mentorees, to our institutional partners, to the sponsors, and of course, our volunteers, the core team that makes all of this happen. Because of you, we are celebrating our 2nd anniversary, and we could not do without you. So thank you all for celebrating with us tonight and for all your kind support. Remember, dimensionsciences.org. You can always come to our website. You can see the recording for this event, and you can continue to support us for the next 2 years and the next 20 years. Thank you very much. Good night.